congratulations to Coach Vegan and Montana State on the win. A really good football team. Got a great environment here that certainly had a great deal of support for them today. I'm really proud of our football team. Got a group that I think if you started the season, there wouldn't be many people that thought we'd be here. Unfortunately, we got a group that's really disappointed because they wanted to keep playing, and thought they showed in the fourth quarter everything that's been good about this football team. A lot of fight, a lot of heart, a bunch of tremendous young men that are a pleasure to coach. Couldn't be prouder of them. Obviously the outcome's not what we wanted, but they set a standard for the University of South Dakota football that going to be hard for future teams to live up to, because this was a good one.
All right, let's have open questions to the athletes.
Dennis, I know the emotions are still pretty fresh right now, but just looking back at what you guys accomplished this season, doing more than any USD team had ever done, just how special was it to play with this group and get as far as you did?
It's very special. Like Coach said, like nobody would have expected this in the beginning of the year, but as long as we believed in ourselves and we just trusted each other.
You guys played a lot of really good quarterbacks, a lot of good dual threat quarterbacks. Just what made Tommy Malott different and so hard to defend today?
He just capitalized off our mistakes. He's a great player, but you can't take it from him. He did a good job today. We just didn't play our best football.
What did you see on that 41-yard run? What was your vantage point on that one?
I can't even really tell you. I don't even remember it, honestly.
Travis, there was so many times in this game where they had chances to sort of break it open, but you guys were able to stem the tide. Just talk about that element and being able to stay in it down the wire there.
Yeah, we've been leaning on each other all year. Got into another one of those situations. We had our trusted defense to get a stop, and didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
For both of you, just how does this team compare to some of the other good teams you faced this season?
It's a good team. Hard-earned win. We can't take that from them. But we was a good team too, so it was a good year.
Travis, you're going to go down as the all-time leading touchdown rushing leader in program history you've had in his historic career. Just kind of reflect on what your time in Vermillion has been like and how special it's been.
6 seasons. I'm pretty blessed. I'm probably one of the few college football players that had the same head coach and same position coach for all 6 seasons. So thank God for that. But yeah, super blessed. Charles Pierce is going to break that record next year, so it's awesome to have it, but I'll be rooting for those guys for sure.
Coach, I know we've talked about this senior group multiple times this year, but just with the season over, just talk about how special it's been to coach them.
Great leaders, great people, and really good football players. As a coach, can't ask for much more than those 3 things. Two of the best right here that have been focused guys throughout their careers on one thing, and that's making our program better, and they've done that. We told them in the locker room, the standard that they've established, not just in wins and losses, but in how they play, is something that is going to make a difference in this program as we move down the future.
Kind of same question I asked Dennis about Tommy Malott. You guys faced a lot of great quarterbacks this season, but what made him so hard to prepare for and defend?
He's a good player. The long touchdown run was a broken play. He made something out of a broken play, and that's what good players do. I thought after the first quarter and a half, I thought we really settled in, played great defense in the second half. You know, they were playing a little bit more conservatively offensively, but you know, we got them off the field and created enough possessions that we had a chance to get ourselves back in the game. We just didn't finish drives very well. But you know, he's an experienced guy, hard runner. You know, I thought we hit him a lot today. You know, made him pay for the yards that he got, but you know, he made enough big plays, both throwing and running the football today to help them put points on the board.
Was there anything you saw on either side that was allowed them to limit the run a little bit more after those first few gash plays, and then same with getting some more pressure kind of later in the game?
They got good pass rushers. Again, you know, when you've got to be one-dimensional offensively, you're not as good. We had to throw the football more than what we wanted to when we were down 2 scores there in the fourth quarter. I thought Aiden did a good job throwing the ball under pressure. You know, we had a couple of chances to you know, make some one-on-one plays that we didn't. And obviously some of the miscues hurt us, which has been atypical. We've been a pretty clean football team, but you know, we have 2 red zone possessions and we fumble snaps and get ourselves off schedule, and you can't do that against you know, a really good football team like Montana State. It's going to cost you, and eventually it did today.
Talk about Travis and his performance this afternoon.
You know, I've said this a few times. He is just a football player. You know, he loves the game. He could tell. You know, you can tell by watching him play. He loves the game. He's going to give you everything he's got on every snap. You know, every run he falls forward, gets another couple. You know, I thought he was really good today. You know, and you know, and he's been that way for us all year. He's played a little bit banged up at times, but you never know it. I mean, he's going to be the physical football player that he always is, and honestly, I think of his 6 years here, you know, been one of the real reasons that you know, we've made national playoff runs the last 2 years. It's because of not just his play, it's because of his leadership.
What do you think of the overall environment today?
Well, they got a great crowd. You know, you know, we worked in noise through the course of the week. You know, caused us a couple of procedure penalties. You know, the one communication error on a bad snap. Aiden was actually checking the play, and I think the center thought he was executing a snap count. You know, it's a hard environment to play in. It's, you know, you think about, you know, we had a 1 day shorter week. We had to travel, and then you got to come on the road and play in this environment. It's definitely a home field advantage for them in the playoffs to be in this round, and I guess we just got to play a little bit better to you know, have that semifinal be at home.
One of the great seasons in your program's history. So what helped you guys get to this point, to the Final Four for the first time?
Well, we've got a group of kids that believe, group of kids that set a goal to win a championship this year. They won one by winning the Valley Championship, something our program's never done, but that wasn't the one they wanted. They wanted the one that's at the end of the road, and you know, hopefully, like I said, you know, the standard's been set now that you know, we want to be a program that year in, year out is playing for a national championship.
Well, exciting day as it always is when you get to officially bring in new members to your football program. It's just the beginning for these guys, but it's also the end of a lot of hard work that's put in by so many people to convince them that Montana State in Bobcat football is going to be the right place for their next step. And it is such an important decision, one that we don't take lightly. So, you know, it's a it's a process that we're as thorough as we can possibly be, and a lot of these relationships go back multiple years, and then there's some cases where they go back multiple weeks. So that's the nature of recruiting, and you know, it's about moving your football program forward. You know, in this new world of college football, which is not just new this year, but with transfer portal and NIL, you know, you gotta stay nimble. You gotta be on your toes, and you can't be surprised by anything. And I know a couple weeks back we had a few members of our team go in the transfer portal, and you know, I spoke to that a little bit on Monday, but you know, that creates opportunity for others. So you know, we understand that's going to be part of how it goes, and we need to be able to, you know, continue to build our team from the ground up, and primarily do that with high school players, of which we had 18 today, but then also with transfers, which we had 1 as of today, but we're certainly in the midst of recruiting a few others between now and the time the semester starts in a little under a month. So, you know, 18 high school players. You know, our foundation has been and will be starting with Montana high school players. I'm fortunate to sign 8 of them today. You know, we feel like if we can get a good number from our state, that's absolute place we need to start, and really feel good about the guys we are bringing in from the state of Montana. You know, then we look at our neighboring states. You know, 2 of which we signed one player, 1 from Wyoming, 1 from Idaho, and then extended to the Pacific Northwest in Washington, Oregon. And this year, very fortunate to sign 5 young men from the state of Washington. We've continued to hit to the populated areas of California and Texas, and it just so happens right now, as we stand today, we'll sign 3 Texas natives, and excited about that group, and we'll continue to look at those areas, you know, simply because the population, the level of football played in there, and then the continued connections within our team of guys having successful, impactful experiences while they're here. You know, when a young man can come up here from, whether it's Dallas, Houston, LA, you name it, and he can get around guys that are from, you know, not
Just to take us through that touchdown you had with the fumbled snap and everything. Can you just take us through what you were seeing there?
Yeah, they changed up a little bit of their defense. Just a little bit out of my reach there, and then you got to play ball. So, Scott Trey, he was obviously supposed to get the ball, and he did a good job of continuing to play. And he, got a huge block there on the backside, and there's just a hole. So, just make a play.
A lot of Taco Dowler early. So how much do you think that's sort of set the tone for you guys?
Yeah, he's a stud. So we got to find ways every single week to get him the ball, and I think we've done a really good job of that. Early on, we had a lot of opportunities, and he was the receiving end of those. So it was pretty special. He's a great guy. I love him. So it was exciting to see his success today.
You guys spread the ball around a lot early in the first half. You were running it a lot. Ty had a few plays, a fake reverse, things like that. So how much was that game plan stuff, or just kind of the course through the game that you guys were trying to get it in different guys' hands?
Yeah, we have a lot of playmakers. This team's very deep. We got to be able to spread them. The 53 and a third, and in vertical as well. And ultimately, I think we did a good job. A lot goes to Coach Walker there, getting us ready, having a great scheme, getting us prepared that way, and then obviously going out there and guys, being ready and taking in this moment and enjoying it and going and making plays.
What can you say about your offensive line, not just today, but this entire season? Everything stems from them, just the credit you can give them.
Yeah, they're the backbone of our offense. Everyone knows that, and everybody knows that we run the ball, and they show up every single week and refuse to let a team stop us. So, those guys, I just am so appreciative of them. They're a group that loves each other. They love this team. They sacrifice, as much as anybody, and I couldn't be more grateful for them.
Obviously, in 2021, you guys won a semifinal 31-17, playing North Dakota State. I guess, have you thought at all just the full circle nature of this, kind of going back to Frisco as a senior now? Yeah,
it's absolutely a blessing to keep playing football into January, and that's what we're all about here at Montana State. That's what we've been about here for 4 years. We came up short there 2 years ago, and obviously last year didn't go the way we wanted to, but we're back to where we belong, and that's what we're all about.
You in that 2021 game, you had twice as many carries than you did today. Still, obviously, a season high today. So you just take us through, the running and comparing and contrasting your performance 3 years ago and this one today.
Yeah, it's night and day. I'd have to imagine, and most people for sure will notice that as well. And it's just that when I was a freshman going in there, it was overwhelming. It was too much for me. It really was. And so, ultimately, what we did was. We were able to get the ball in my hands, and I was just trying to make plays the entire game. And but we have a lot of other guys who are able to distribute the ball now too, and we're able to hand it off and sit behind them, get the push with the offensive line and make plays. With that +1 run game, when you just catch it and run, it can get very physical, and there's a lot of impact, and that's ultimately why I haven't been able to finish the past 3 seasons our last game. And so it's just a blessing to be healthy at this point in the season, and just continuing to have our offense just be successful.
The final home game for you seniors, just when you were sharing that moment on the field in this locker room, can you kind of take us inside the senior group and what this last one meant at Bobcat Stadium?
Yeah, we obviously knew it was going to come at some point. We put ourselves in a position because of our regular season to play it out here, and we knew that home field advantage, that's one of our staples downstairs. That's what we preach, and ultimately we got that, and we, just a testament to the entire team doing everything they possibly can to give us every opportunity we can at Bobcat Stadium this season. And so it's just been an absolute blessing to play for those fans, play for the state, play in Bozeman, and those fans are just rocking today. So so appreciative of them and for the what they've done for us and what they've done for the senior class.
Coach Vegan said on Monday that Brody, he has no doubt in his mind it's going to go down as an all-time great. To see him get that fumble, final one, Bobcat Stadium, just what was that moment like, and how do you kind of describe what he means to this program?
Yeah, Brody's a stud. I think that he is just a wrecking ball out there, and when I watch from the sideline, they always have a guy chipping them when they're in pass, they're pass setting. They do certain things just to make it extremely difficult on him, and he's the focus of every single offense, and so. It's a testament to how he takes care of his body day in and day out, so he can be out there on Saturday and be successful, and just how he's prepared his entire life. And he's just a stud. I love that guy, and I'm excited to be able to play another game with him.
getting in a game like this where you got a whole bunch of resistance? I mean, that was a tough team that you guys just played. So what was that like for you guys since you've been in so many of these games where you guys have just taken care of business in such lopsided fashion?
Yeah, I mean, every game always starts 0-0, so we always have to earn that right to, blow a team out, and we obviously were able to do that. But, every game, certainly starts with that opportunity at 0-0, and you got to go out there and play. And so I suppose to some extent, we played in, halves and three quarters of tight football games, and, ultimately we've been successful there to blow teams out. I'm with you, but no, I mean, I think we just our team's built for 4 quarters of football, for 60 minutes, and that's what we're all about. So I had no doubt in my mind when we got to that fourth quarter. Our offense had kind of sailed out there a little bit to the end of the third, and that we were going to be able to be the difference. Our defense was going to get stops, and guys were going to be able to play all 60 minutes and get us that win.
In a game where field position is so important, how big is it to have a weapon like Brendan Hall who can flip the field like that?
Yeah, it's invaluable. That guy is, he's just got an absolute bazooka for a leg. It's unbelievable. We see it every single day at practice. Fortunately, we haven't really punted a whole lot, and when we have, we've been in good situations where he doesn't have to, let it loose. But, I think all of, the entire country got to see what he's all about when we, when he lets that thing go.
Can you pinpoint a moment this season where you guys maybe had something special going?
I think that it probably goes back all the way to January last year, just how hungry we were when we first got back. If you want to talk about within the season, I think that New Mexico game was very, was a staple of what we were all about here, and just kind of got that ball rolling. We finished last season with 2 losses, and being able to, build up and grow the entire offseason, come back and then go play New Mexico, beat down 17, twice, and to go and find a way to win. It's just a testament to what we had done in the offseason and how different we were this season.
You mentioned the overwhelming nature of the game 3 years ago. Remember you were crying after the game ended or right at the end. How did you feel this time? What was kind of the last moments of this game?
Yeah, I mean, back in 21, I never really thought about what was beyond any of the games. It was, we really, shoot, I don't know if we should really be here. And so when we just kept winning, it was like, wow. I mean, like, our defense was just unbelievable, but on offense, it was just kind of like, just these unrealistic, crazy plays were just happening over and over and over again, and somehow we were able to keep winning games. So I never really thought of what was beyond that semifinal game against South Dakota State back then. So when when I sat there and I actually realized that we were going to a national championship game, it was, it was overwhelming. And like I said, well, it was overwhelming because I was just so happy, and it was like, wow, like, I want to do everything I could to help those seniors get as many games as they possibly could. And so, when we ultimately made it all the way, it was very, I just had a lot of love in my heart, and it was overwhelming with it in that way. So yeah.
I think every college senior wants their last year to be a special one. The fact that it's gone this way, how would you describe what that's meant to you?
Yeah, it's a blessing, certainly, as you just talked about. Everyone has the idea that their senior year they go and play in the national championship game and they ultimately win it. And I think that it's certainly a blessing to be able to do that with this group of guys who's battled so much over these last 4.5 years, and so yeah, it's unbelievable, and we're excited to get another opportunity.
And another opportunity against North Dakota State. Just how excited are you to face them again?
Yeah, I can't wait to play them.
All right, we done with Tommy?
All right. Well, needless to say, beyond proud, of this group, and I think our continued fight that was not easy by any means today. I think South Dakota, hats off to them. That's a really good outfit, offense, defense. I think us coming out and scoring and setting the tone was certainly something. But they answered back. And I think we got in that second half, and that's where the true meaning of this team, I think, continued to show up, making, I think, just enough plays in every which way. And I think we walk away from that game feeling like that was a team victory. That was a team win against a really good team, and it was I think we did obviously I think enough on offense. I would have certainly loved for us to be a little more effective in the fourth quarter offensively. But when you have a couple score lead, those are challenging times. And I know defensively, just continuing to go after them. And we had a heck of a time with Tice, a heck of a time. So credit to him. And that was something I think we anticipated that he was going to be one of the better players that we've seen all year. But ultimately, we got them in long yard situations. I think playing their offense down in the Sonny Holland zone was critical at the end. They put a couple balls on the ground. Our crowd made a difference. There's no doubt about it. You get to this point in home field. Home field, a place like ours, really matters. And I think wherever our edge came from, I know that was part of it. And I think about special teams, and we haven't needed Brendan to be in that position where turning over the field was going to be a big piece to his impact. And he did that, and then some. I'm just looking at 5 for 54 average, and they got good returners, and those are critical situations. So it took everything. It took a solid offensive performance. A defense that hung in there and made big plays when it needed to, and obviously the special teams component to make a real difference. So couldn't be more proud of this group, these seniors. We sat in here last December and we had an abrupt end to that season, and I know that that motivated this group intently, and we went to work back in January. And now we're going to be able to finish that journey in the next January. So that's pretty special. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
It was a game like you guys haven't really been in before this year. So what did you think of your guys' ability to sort of handle that and finish that?
Yeah, I think that's what you should expect this time of year. And I think we've had some moments, and certainly being down, but that was way back in August to New Mexico. I think we've been able to get ourselves kind of out of those situations, whether it was tie game at Eastern or I've been thinking back to Idaho State, that them closing that lead, or certainly the end of the Davis game. But that was a different game where it was field position, it was all of that. It was the defense hanging on. It was offense. Didn't stay on the field, but at least got the ball out of the end zone there. And we just kept going after them and didn't quit. And ultimately, found a way.
I've seen a lot of crazy Tommy runs, that 41-yarder. Maybe not the craziest, but what was your vantage point on it?
Yeah, we're just trying to get a yard. I think it was 3rd and 1 there, and we haven't had Aaron snaps, or he's been able to handle them. He wasn't able to handle that. We got a fortuitous bounce there, and if he's not the most impactful player in our division, I know we're going to see the other one down in Frisco, and a good settle on the field, I suppose. But I know, Tommy does so much for us, and that play, the unscripted, the competitive nature. I mean, he certainly could have went down in that play. Somehow he kept his balance, and I'm sure they were wondering what the heck just happened.
I'm wondering if, from your vantage point, that the fact that the ball was on the ground for a split second improve the timing of the play, because the middle just opened up.
Yeah, anytime something like that happens, I think everybody reacts unlike they should, relative to a defensive call. And there's good fortune that he was able to handle that, I think, and have the sense about him to just go forward. That's the only way. He knew we needed a yard, and so yes, I mean sometimes those things happen that way, and we were beneficiaries, I suppose, of what you're talking about, just that off timing.
You mentioned the crowd noise kind of when they were going for a 4th down in the red zone, but just talk about the playmaking of Simeon and Tate and those guys to get this 4th down stuff.
Yeah, I thought we really defended the pass well. I think about their yards came on underneath checkdowns. We did not give them the home run, and they were going after the home run over and over again. So I know that's credit to the defensive staff with the calls. It's credit to the execution of the players, and then we got ourselves in some one-on-ones and been able to make those plays and really challenge them. I know they made that one play to the tight end over on their sideline. That was maybe as down the field as they got. Otherwise, they were short catches and runs. So I walk away thinking we obviously could have tackled better, but I knew tackling Tice in particular was going to be a challenge, and we needed it all though. We needed to be able to defend the pass and really not. Their long was 24. I think that was definitely a thing. We can't let them have the explosive pass, and that's credit to our coaches. It's credit to our secondary. It's credit to the pressure we were able to get.
There's such a finality to this game for so many of your best players that are seniors. So how did you get them prepared just emotionally for this moment?
Well, I think just talking about, guys, let's look at it. We've maxed out our opportunities here. Let's not get too sentimental. We want another game on the other side. So what you've done is you've created every possible opportunity in the 24 season to play in front of this crowd. Certainly soak it all in, but know that there's a bigger prize out there that we're after, and I think this group gets that part, and continues to live play to play, moment to moment. I'm sure there was emotions for those guys, but they didn't let those emotions overtake them. We've been able to battle emotions, I think, in a lot of our games, especially down the stretch here, and it's okay to play with some passion though too. So being able to draw that passion out of that emotion is what you try to steer them in that direction. I think they did a great job of that.
Tommy in particular seemed to really thrive off of the emotion. He had the home run celebration after the
I've never seen that one. Yeah. No, I think he realizes what this stretch we're in is for him, and truly taking in the moment and enjoying it and playing his tail off for sure, competing like crazy, but enjoying it. And I hope all our guys took that in. That was pretty special today, that environment. I know with all these FBS games being played on college sites, they're getting a flavor of what that was today. It was amazing, and we needed the crowd and our guys. You work all those hours to put ourselves in position to do what we did, and meaning the home field advantage, and it all worked out.
You had a different 31-17 win here 3 years ago, set up another title game against North Dakota State. So how would you kind of compare and contrast these moments last two?
We went into the playoffs that year as an 8 seed, coming off a loss, changing quarterbacks, kind of got on a run there. I think this team and I think we're just in a different place of the program, I guess. I do think that team changed our expectations, that we can do it, we can make it all the way. But I think this team is different. I think this team is better equipped for this time of year. So, the fact that the score was the same and it was a South Dakota team, I think there's some similarities there. But beyond that, I think we're a different team. And we're a different team in large part because of that team, and what they went through, and to some degree coming up short in Frisco that year, and then coming up short in Brookings the next year, and coming up short last year. I think all those we have, plenty of ups, but those downs have put us in this position where this group is not going to leave a stone unturned.
And when you say different, what do you think are the biggest differences?
Well, I think we're more experienced, we're more balanced. I think we're better up front. That's probably would be the top one. I think we're better up front on both sides of the ball, but I say that we still have an explosive nature about us. So if I would say, hey, we're just more well-rounded. I think we can do it in different ways, and that's not to take anything away from that 21 team. It is not by any means. I think we're, you go in as the number 1 seed and all, every opportunity in front of you. It's a different world. It's a different mindset to be in the 8 seed like we were that year.
Can I ask you about the Pierre touchdown, because it kind of looked like he caught everybody by surprise, kind of a wink to you, like what?
Yeah, they had a bunch look, I know, and I think they brought a motion guy behind. I think we had a pressure on, so we were moving. challenging fit, I think, for Drew is what I would say it. I mean, Drew as a free safety was the free hitter in that situation and really didn't, angle-wise, it didn't really fit. So, yeah, we gave up that run and certainly the 55-yarder before that with Tice, that was a matter of, us missing tackles and a credit to who he was. But we gave up those two, that's 90 yards combined on 2 rushes, and then they end up with 135. So I think we sorted through some things. It wasn't, he still made some plays, but we didn't give up the big play after that pure run.
I know they kind of closed the gap in the second half, but the first half you guys really controlled time of possession. Had some really long scoring drives. I guess just thoughts on how critical that was.
Well, I think just being able to set the tone with that first drive, critical. They follow us up with a score. To be able to score again, be able to score before the half, and we got a field goal. I would love to get a touchdown there, but I think just to eat the rest of that clock up and go up, what was it? It was 24-14 to go up 10 at that point. I think that piece, just closing the half out there on a good note with points, was very important. And time of possession, I think we were 20 plus that first half. So, and that's partly because we gave a couple big plays too. So I don't know. I think I felt like we were wearing on them, but credit to them. That didn't really play out in the rushing game like, I hoped it probably would in the fourth quarter. So I think that is credit to them. And, you're up a couple scores. We were just trying to bring it home, and ultimately we were able to do that.
The last 8 minutes was so interesting to watch, right? Because you got multiple 4th down stops. You can see the whole coaching staff kind of looking how much time's left. When Brody finally gets the last fumble recovery, though, what was that sort of release like for you guys?
Yeah, I think we're there. I after we had to punt again, I felt good. We're up 14. They were under 2, no timeouts. Really felt good about that situation. In a situation up a couple scores that we were. You learn, right? We were in that situation against Davis, and so I felt really confident, I guess, is my point. And then, to have it end in one play and we get the ball back, that was a better way than being stressed out anymore. But I knew they had to pull out a bag of tricks there, and fortunately for us, that play didn't work.
And Brody, I know that he's not 100% right now, but just the minutes he's giving you, the snaps he's giving you, what do you think?
Yeah, going in, I think he was maybe as healthy as he's been in a while, but that was a grind for him today, it appeared. And being able to, just continue to go. He's the definition of relentless on our defense. I know he's not the only one by any means, but just how he continues to go after it. And I didn't play through, different things through the course of this season. And really, no different than Tommy, really cherish what we're in the midst of and want to take it as far as we can, which we have now. And this isn't, we're going down there to Frisco to win a football game. Clear. That's as clear as I can say it. And we need to prepare like crazy over the next couple weeks. But that's, I think this team's positioned to think that way and go do that.
Brody was a player, I think, a couple of years ago that mentioned, we need to get more physical after that loss to South Dakota State. And now you guys play an MVSC team that looks pretty physical. Do you feel like this is going to help you out a lot going into this next game?
Well, you look at the 3 teams, and obviously we looked at South Dakota playing both of the Dakota States the last week, and they all beat each other. They're all cut out of pretty similar cloth. South Dakota doesn't have this playoff experience, maybe this big game experience, but just how they're built and how they operate is very similar. And as offense and defense, that's built from the kind of the inside out. And so beating South Dakota doesn't guarantee us anything going down and playing North Dakota State, but I do think, again, we are in a different place than we were back in 22 and 21 for that matter when we matched up against these teams. And I know, we're going to have to play extremely well, and we're going to have to prepare, like crazy over the next couple of weeks to put ourselves in position. But, I think that we're going to go down there with a team that's going to fight and be right in the fight.
All good.
semifinals. What a scene. Man, where else would we rather be? One of the most beautiful parts of this great country, Bozeman, Montana, and a football crazy town, especially this year. It's been a really special year for Montana State. Undefeated, #1 ranked team in the country, one win away from a chance to play for a championship of the Missouri Valley for the first time in their program's history. Play fake. Malott looking downfield, end zone, and caught! Touchdown, Taco Dollar! Wide open, and Tommy Malott finds him for the first points of the game. That touchdown pass, 34 yards.
We're going to show you how that happened. You're going to catch South Dakota State in quarters coverage, and you're going to get the tight end to chew up the strong safety. And then you're going to get a big post outside by Taco Dowler, and just a perfect throw by Tommy Malott to start the game here to allow Montana State to strike first.
So 2nd and 9. You got tight.
At this very moment, children at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital are fighting to survive with a